Hi, this is my speech for my public speaking class. As always, I have my audience here, and my persuasive speech starts now. It takes 1 second to send a text, but what is 1 second really worth? People always say that texting and driving is not a big deal. You hear the stories over and over again of people who say they know it's dangerous, but they do it anyways, clearly stating that it's only going to take a second. But in 1 second, you can make real lasting damage. And that is what I'm hoping I'll be able to convince you not to do in the future. Texting and driving has a lot of damages and a lot of lasting consequences, not only for the driver, but the people that the driver infects. Texting is about the equivalent of drunk driving. You are putting yourself and others at risk by doing something that you know is wrong. But in the second, you don't think that your consequences matter in the moment because it's only going to take a second. Some real life examples of this I'm going to speak about later. But first, I want to talk to you about examples in pop culture. Now, there are several instances of people texting and driving in pop culture, but the ones I wanted to specifically talk to you about are two that caused lasting damage. The first one is a story from the TV show Glee, when Quinn was texting her friends that were getting married that she was on her way. It's 3 simple little words. It's not that big a deal until while she was texting, she wasn't looking where she was going, and she got T-boned by a car and ended up paralyzed. Now, of course, spoiler alert, if anyone has watched this TV show, you know that Quinn walks again. She does the rehab and she's able to walk again. But that doesn't mean that her consequences weren't any more important than they are. She could have been paralyzed for the rest of her life. And considering one of her friends is paralyzed from a car accident, albeit not texting and driving, it still should have been in the forefront of her mind that that was not a good idea. The actress who plays Quinn, Diana Agron, released a PSA prohibiting people from texting and driving. She wanted people to know that this was not something that she recommended, and her character learned that lesson as well. The second example of texting and driving in pop culture that I wanted to talk to you about from the Canadian show Degrassi, in which the character Adam Torres is sending a text to his girlfriend, Becky, who said that she needed to talk to him, that he loved her. However, in the midst of sending this text, he wasn't looking where he was driving, and he crashed his car, never sending the text, and died as a result of it. The reason why I chose this example to end with is because the first one had damages that were able to be fixed. This one, however, was not. And the fact that he didn't even get to send the text before he lost control of his vehicle proves even more that 1 second is 1 second that is not worth it. If you need to text, you need to pull over and text them and then start driving again. It is not worth your life just to send a text. And whoever it is that you're texting would probably agree with that. Now, to get to my opinion on the subject, I have 2 stories that I want to share with you. One story is of a young woman named Alex Brown. She left her house to go to school in the morning, but she never got there. The school board, the principal, called her mother and said that she wasn't in first or second period. So her mom retraced her daughter's steps to school and found her found her car that had been skidded on the road and crashed. This woman's name is Alex Brown, and she was a student at Seagrave. She was a senior. I don't know if you can see this or not, but she died as a result of that. If you look very closely in this picture up here on the top, right here, that's her car that was damaged, and you can very clearly see that it was wrecked. It was later confirmed that there was no foul play and that she had been texting and driving. They confirmed this by the time of death coincided with the last text that she sent from her phone. Her parents then put out this commitment form. Again, I don't know if you can read this. It says, "Remember Alex Brown. Don't text and drive." If you sign this, it means that you're making a commitment not to text while operating a motor vehicle. Distracted driving is dangerous and life-threatening for other people. This pledge was put out by her parents in hopes that the more people who took the time to sign this might actually keep their promise and not text and drive. Her mother has gone around to several high schools over the country to talk about her daughter in the hopes that she might be able to keep other teenagers from repeating her daughter's mistakes and other parents from losing their child. I want to end this speech with a personal story of mine, which involves when I was in high school. I had a teacher who was the kindest, sweetest, best guy I have ever met in my entire life. And anyone who knows this teacher instantly thought of him when I gave that description, because all of his students felt the same way. All of his students loved him. I am talking about a teacher who ended his career at Hudson's Bay High School in Vancouver, Washington. His name is Gordon Patterson. He was an amazing teacher, an awesome person, and he lived his life going to church and being a father and a husband to so many people that he taught every single day how to just be a good person. I personally was not in his class, but he impacted my life through one of the most kindest actions I have ever had someone do for me. And the reason why I'm bringing him up is because in September of 2009, he was riding his bike to his church. A simple act that he had done how many times? But because someone was texting and driving, he never made it to the church. And he never made it home to his wife and children. He did, however, make it home to his God. And that is why this subject is personal for me. I don't condone texting and driving. I will not get into the car if someone is going to text and drive. And if someone needs to text, then please let me do it. But the reason why I'm ending this speech on that story is because not only is it personal to me, I think it is a true and honest testament of the lives that can be lost through texting and driving. Now, the solution to this problem is very simple. Just don't text and drive. It may take 1 second, but it's 1 second that is not worth the risk. There are several statistics in which back up this point, but I have a few that I want to share with you. The first one being for any sports fans out there, in the 5 seconds that is the minimal amount of attention that a driver who texts takes away from the road. If traveling at 55 miles per hour, this equals driving the length of a football field without looking at the road once. So anyone who plays sports knows that that's quite a bit of distance. And that amount of distance is how long you could be putting your life and someone else's at risk. Another statistic I want to share with you is in 2018, there were 36,750 deaths related to car accidents. And of these fatalities, 5.7 were due to the driver not only texting, but also talking on their cell phone, which is why I believe that talking on your cell phone is not a good idea as well. Drivers who text while driving are 23 times more likely to crash. And I don't believe that any life, even the life of the person who texted and drived and took away this person that I loved so much, I don't even believe his life is worth a second. 1 second was not worth his life. It was not worth the life of my teacher. It was not worth the life of Alex Brown. And it is not worth your life. So the next time you get into your car with your cell phone, turn it off, because it is a scientific fact that when your phone goes off, you are put under pressure, and there's a scientific emotion in your brain that tells you, I have to look at it. So when you get into your car, just turn off your phone so that you're not even put under that pressure. And hopefully you can save a life. Because in the 1 second that you want to check your phone, maybe one more second that you won't have in this world. Thank you so much. And I hope that you share this speech with other people, and hopefully we can put an end to texting and driving, because there are too many lives lost in this world through everything else. But this is the one thing that we can control. Thank you so much. And I am hoping that you will make a choice to not text and drive.